What is up, everybody? It's BBKDRAGOON here, and today I'm going to talk you through everything I learned from building my first gaming PC. I'm making this video as a resource for those people who want to get into PC gaming, but who are intimidated by the thought of building. I'm going to talk you through my experience, what it was like. I did all this about 3 weeks ago, and I'm not a DIY kind of person, but I want to share with you guys what I learned and what I wish I would have known, because it can be very intimidating. A month ago, I was the kind of person who wanted to buy a pre-built system, didn't want to build because I'm like, what if I spend all this money and it doesn't work? Or what if I just don't have the time to put it together? And ultimately, I recommend now, after going through this experience, most people can and should build. That's just my 2 cents, but I'm going to walk you through my whole story and you guys can make up your own opinion. So first of all, here is my system: an i7-6700K, an Asus Strix GTX 1080, 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is overkill, but I am into a lot of video editing stuff. The more RAM you have with After Effects, it's a lot more flexible, so I went for that. The Hyper 212 Evo for the CPU cooler, 256 gigabyte solid state drive, 2 terabyte drive for gaming files, and then I have a giant 5 terabyte WD Black recording drive. And the reason I have the WD Black in there is because when you're recording, it's extremely abusive to hard drives. You're constantly reading and writing to it, so spending the bit extra for WD Black performance, I've always felt safe with those drives. Hadn't had any failures in the past. It's all in a Fractal R5 case with knock to a fan so that I can keep this computer nice and quiet, because when you're recording and YouTubing, having a quiet environment is really helpful. I've never built a PC, however, from the get-go before, and I didn't know a whole lot about this going in. So rewind the clocks back to Cyber Monday. I was on CyberPower's website looking to potentially buy a pre-built system, and I ended up buying $1,500 GTX 1080 system from there that was like an i7. I had friends at the time who told me, dude, you should build a computer. They told me how much money I would save, but I was intimidated, okay? I had the fear of spending all this money and then having it not work, or B, just not having enough time. I'm super busy, and I'm like, what if I can't put in a full day to try and put a computer together? So I saw the Cyber Monday deals. I ultimately caved, ordered the system, right? 3 weeks go by, and there was no update at all on the shipping or the building of the system. I kept going to the website, couldn't see anything. So I spent over an hour trying to get a hold of CyberPower support, and I couldn't. I just was on hold for freaking forever. Next day I tried again. I spent almost an hour again on the phone trying to get in touch with them. I finally got through. The whole time their like hold music system is basically just like, leave your number and we'll call you back kind of a thing. It's encouraging you to just get off the line, basically. So when I finally did get through and talk to somebody, they had 0 updates on when the estimated time of build was going to be. All they could tell me was that it was delayed because of the holiday rush, which I can understand, Cyber Monday, I'm sure. But at that point, I just got really weird vibes. I didn't like the whole situation. I didn't like the fact that it was almost impossible to get a hold of these people. And I'm not taking a jab at CyberPower, but it's just one of those things where the customer support was not very good at all, and for the amount of money that you're spending on a PC, you want it to be a great experience. So I ended up canceling the order right then and there, and the next day I proceeded to PC Part Picker to start putting together a system. Now here is where I had a lot of help. I had friends who had built PCs before, and they helped me put together a system. And this is an area, if you're a new person who wants to get into PC gaming, if you don't have friends who can help you, don't worry. There are websites like Tom's Hardware that can give you advice, that can look over your PC build list. And there's tons of great YouTube videos and tutorials online that can help you put together a system in your budget. So if you don't have friends, it's not the end of the world, but I was very blessed in the sense that I had some people who were smart about PCs, had built multiple PCs before, and were very, very helpful throughout that process. And to you guys, thank you very much. So I proceeded to order the parts and start putting the system together, right? I set aside an entire day. My good friend Diddy said, don't do it after work. Set aside the whole day to go for it. The scariest part of the build for me was really installing the CPU and putting the Hyper 212 onto the CPU. You know, that's one of those elements where I was just like, probably more scared than I needed to be, because ultimately if you take your time, it's very straightforward. However, that portion I was like, don't screw this up, don't screw this up. I was very conscious about static electricity, and I think the other hard part was just making sure the power supply, all of the cords got to their correct place and that they were the correct cords. My cable management isn't the best, but at the end of the day, I finished up and I went, you know, this is basically like Legos for adults, because it's pretty straightforward. Everything has a place for the most part, and it's recognizable. But the key with all of this experience as a whole, was I took my time, I read a bunch, and I had friends who helped out. If you're able to take your time, watch YouTube tutorials, and get your build kind of approved, if you don't have friends, by somebody on Tom's Hardware, you know, somebody like reputable, not just a brand new forum user there, then I really think just about anybody can build a PC. And now that I look back, hindsight 2020, it was way less expensive to build the PC that I wanted than going through a pre-built place like CyberPower. I got exactly what I wanted, every part, and I know the system inside and out. I have a real connection with it. There's this great sense of accomplishment because I built it. I mean, that's really, really cool, right? That's this childhood dream. It's like, yeah, that thing, that's right there. Yes, powered up, good stuff. The cons of building your system, it was very time consuming. I mean, it took me like 6 hours. And if you don't have friends to help out, it can be way more time consuming, like getting your part list approved by somebody online and going, hey, is this a smart list? And I don't know where I need to put this CPU fan cord. What do I do with this? You know, if you don't have a friend to help out in that regard, it can take a little bit longer. But here's the end of the story, right? I truly believe anyone can build a PC. Anyone. But you have to take your time and be willing to do some research. That doesn't mean building is correct for everyone. There's some people who pre-built is the way to go, and sometimes you can get great pre-built system prices. You just have to be on the lookout for them. And I'm sure there's great websites. I wouldn't ever use CyberPower after the experience there, and I'm not trying to take too many shots at them because it wasn't like overwhelmingly, egregiously horrible. But when I went back and I looked at the picture of the system that I bought, now that I know a little bit more about computers, it has a custom water-cooled loop to a block on the graphics card and like this custom water-cooled loop to the CPU. And it's like, that's not what you're buying. Why would they show a picture of a system with a custom water-cool setup, like way custom? We're not talking about just like a Corsair CPU water cooler, okay? Custom water-cool loop in a block for your graphics card. That's not the system you're gonna get. And to me, that feels extremely misleading. But I also understand if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of time, maybe pre-built is the way to go. But I just want to let you know, if you're intimidated by the thought about building, I was in your shoes 3 weeks ago. Take your time, you can do it, and I don't feel like there's a reason to be that intimidated. It's very much a straightforward process that I look back going, you know what? I'm very glad that I did that. So that's the story of my first gaming PC build, and I hope this helps make your decision a little bit easier if you're on the fence about maybe building or going with the pre-built side of things. If you guys have any questions for me, please ask them down below. I would love to answer them, and I'm not super smart when it comes to PC stuff, so if I need to bring in one of my friends to help out, I will. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, and we'll see you next time.
You have to knee how or it doesn't count.
I know, it's just hard for me to press that.
Hit F and then right trigger, it's that easy.